You know what, before we start, we should say hi to Pat Steves, who's one of the ADMs from Finance and Treasury Board, is retiring tomorrow after 23 and a half years. So yeah, give her a little hand. And any really tough questions, Pat will be answering. So that's good as her send-off. Hi everybody, thanks for being here this afternoon. Bonjour tout le monde et merci d'être ici aujourd'hui. After a careful and thorough review of the current recreational cannabis sales business model in New Brunswick and the analysis of alternative options, our government came to the conclusion that the best approach for New Brunswick taxpayers and government is to turn to the private sector. As a result, our government will launch a request for proposal for a single private sector operator to undertake the operation, distribution, and sale of recreational cannabis in New Brunswick. Nous croyons que le secteur privé est la meilleure option pour la vendre.
We believe that the private sector is the best option for the sale and distribution of cannabis in our.
We are seeking proponents who have demonstrated experience in recreational cannabis sales, the financial capacity to develop and sustain operations, and a viable plan to combat the illegal market through price competitiveness and product diversity. The successful single operator will also be one that submits an attractive financial offer for the rights to this business. Proposals will also be reviewed on their approach to building strong direct and indirect partnerships with local entrepreneurs and First Nations. Our government strongly believes that our role should be to regulate and enforce the regulations to protect the health and the well-being of our citizens. Notre rôle comme gouvernement.
Our role as a government is to protect the public, let the private sector do business.
The single private operator model was identified as the best approach to balance both the public protection and the financial interest objectives for the province. Some retail activities, such as recreational cannabis sales, is one area where we believe the private sector is absolutely a better option. We anticipate strong interest in the RFP and look forward to work with the proponent who will propose a business model that focuses on public health, education, and safety, and offers the best value for the New Brunswick taxpayers. Our government is committed to doing what is right for the province and for New Brunswickers. We are focused on priorities and results. Today's announcement is another tangible example of our determination to take advantage and take action to energize the private sector, to be an affordable and responsive government, and to get our financial house in order, and to maximize the benefits for taxpayers and government. Thank you. Merci. I'll take questions now.
Thank you.
How much is this going to cost the province? I mean, I'm trying to figure it out in my head. The lease agreements are $45 million. Right
Oh,
now.
okay.
The staffing, will there be any, severance or whatever comes with that?
You know what? I will say it's a little early to think about that just yet. I don't really want to talk about dollars and cents because that's what the RFP is going to determine, right? The RFP is going out there to see what kind of offers are out there. And quite frankly, we have to have a compelling proposal. Cannabis New Brunswick continues. We're not shutting down Cannabis New Brunswick. There has to be a compelling proposal for us to do business in the private sector. And so we are looking for that proposal through this request for proposals.
What does this mean for the 250 employees working at Cannabis NB right now?
Well, it means that they are still working for Cannabis NB. The request for proposal is out there as of today. I would assume that whoever is going to have the rights to this, if there is a compelling offer out there, that they would want well-trained staff, and the staff at Cannabis NB has never been an issue. They're exceptionally well-trained. They know their product well. They serve their customers extremely well.
Do you think all 250 employees will be there when they take over next year?
It's hard to say until we see a proposal and see what they have proposed for us. But it's hard to say. It's not going to be my business. It's going to be somebody else's business to run.
Is there any plan for severance or anything to be offered in the event that they can't be offered?
It's a little early to talk about that too, because the RFP is just starting now. So I would assume that if somebody's job ends, then there would be some severance involved. Yeah, but how much? I don't know. And like I say, we would hope that the majority of these very well-trained staff are going to get jobs.
What if this doesn't work? What if Cannabis NB continues to lose money?
Well, there's an interesting thought. You know what? There are other options for us. When I came to you 6 months ago, we started talking about this 6 months ago, right? Because we had gone through the first 6 month period and lost almost $12 million. So back then, the media asked me, said, what are our options? I said, there are 3 options. And I can run down them again. It was keep the stores ourselves and shut down the least productive ones as we would do in business and go from there. And probably 7 of them would be shut down, right? Or we can go fully privatized, or we can do the model that we are proposing in this request for proposals, which is to have one person come in and take over the business and run the business. They are business people. It is something that I've said often, government shouldn't be in the business of business. We should be in the business of regulating. We've proven that you can't run a business the same way as you run government. Government, it takes so long to get a decision because we have the duty to consult, of course. And if you have a private business, you consult with yourself, maybe your shareholders, maybe your partners within the business, and you take action within 24 hours or 72 hours or a couple weeks. That's not the way government works. And it's so hard to react with business decisions when government is involved in business. It's not a good, doesn't make for a good equation.
What made
Single operator model, what is to say that if the black market downgrades its prices, what's to say that that single operator is going to match that and if not, and you going to figure up to the same
You know what?
that we have now?
That would be that could be a possibility, I suppose, but we're getting them to run the business. We will be in charge of regulating. They're running their business. It's not up to us to decide what their margins are going to be or how much they will make. I mean, obviously we're going to be regulating, getting some tax and whatever else we can come out through the RFP process.
The goal is to regulate the content of cannabis and want to drive people away from the black market.
Mm-hmm.
But is there any oversight on keeping that price in check for the single supplier so
No.
that the end consumer?
They would run it as it's their business to run. So they'd be running it.
Why did Cannabis NB fail in its current model? What was it?
I think Cannabis NB failed because of the prices. When you come into a market, traditionally in business, you try and undercut that market and you try and get the lion's share of that market. The prices, we also have terrible problems with Health Canada. This business was thrust on us in a hurry. And Health Canada have come up with regulations that make it very hard to run this business. They are not a fan of this business. I'm convinced that Health Canada does not want it to succeed. But having said that, we're stuck with the business. Health Canada has come out with rules like you can't smile. We can't have on our website somebody smiling because that encourages people to take part in this activity. I don't. So there have been problems like that. The leases are a big problem. It's very expensive. $60 a square foot in Miramichi, $60 a square foot in Sussex and Sackville. That's an expensive lease. Those are the main factors I would say. Supply issues, all that, guys.
The private sector will still have to respect these regulations established and held in Canada. So what's the difference?
You know what? I don't know. I see their websites. And Health Canada doesn't seem to be acting on their websites because they have websites where people are smiling and people are using the product. So, you know what? I don't know. I'd like to see why Health Canada is not cracking down on them.
And what happens to these other cannabis MB stores in smaller areas, like say Sackville Lake?
Oh, well, that's up to whoever wins the RFP. They can set up stores where they want to, right? It's private industry then.
But they could close them too.
Yeah, I suppose that's up to them. I mean, I'm not going to decide ahead of time what their business model would be. Yeah.
And who do you think this business, the cannabis NB, will attract? International buyers or?
Yeah, in the RFP, we're talking about people who have experience selling cannabis, who have experience with e-commerce, who have experience with big business. It's going to attract any number of people. But having experience with cannabis is the big key there, right?
Is this at all going to, do you think, affect the illegal dispensaries out there? Because the CEO of Cannabis NB says that's the biggest reason why Cannabis NB is not making money, is these illegal dispensaries that he says pops up almost like they hear of a new one every day.
Yeah. There's a pile of them out there.
Do you think that that's not going to be a problem under a private operator?
I have no comment really on that. I mean, that's public safety's area, so I would let them comment on the illegal dispensaries. But yes, I do believe that they are a hindrance to us doing business. Yeah.
Why did you choose to give a monopoly to one company instead of allowing under some regulations, allowing anyone who wants to open a pot shop to open one.
You know what? There are a whole lot of different reasons why we looked at the different models that we did. And we can have a separate, probably, press conference just on that. But, yeah, we could. But she's sick, so you got to wait till after Vicky gets better. You know what? I've talked to people in Saskatchewan a lot, and they have a fully private industry. Everybody has their own lens to look at things, right? Public safety looks at it through their lens, social development through theirs, health through theirs. I work in finance, so my lens is through the dollar. And this was the best way to stop losing money at this point. We're responsible for the taxpayers' money. We have to be prudent with it. And this was the best way to stop losing money is what we saw and stop the bleeding.
And why is it a better way to stop losing money than saying full-on privatized?
When you look at Saskatchewan, they just don't, at this point, we're just looking to stop losing money, but you don't make as much money with that model. You wouldn't generally make as much money in that business scenario.
Why didn't we do this in the first place?
You'd have to ask the last government that. They set it up. The finance minister at the time set it up, and I think it was a bad business model, and I've been certainly quoted a lot of times saying that wasn't a great business model. So you would have to talk to them because they set it up. All right. Thanks, guys.
Any more questions? Good?
Oh, you good?
Thank you. Thank you, Minister.
Guys, before we